This is the Washington Times front page for Thursday, October 26th, 2023. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. New House Speaker Mike Johnson has been elevated as one of the least experienced lawmakers to ever serve in the role. Susan Ferricchio, Kerry Pickett, and Alex Miller report his ability to unite the fractious Republican conference will be tested immediately, with a critical government funding deadline fast approaching. Only in his third term in Congress, the Louisiana native pledged to unify the long-divided House GOP and work across the aisle while tackling some of the most difficult issues in the chamber, including border security, federal spending, and aid for overseas allies. A lawyer and constitutional law expert, the 51-year-old has been a low-profile member during his 6 years in Congress. He cultivated the respect of his colleagues while serving as chair of the Conservative Republican Study Committee and won an election for vice chair of the conference 2 years ago. Animosity between Israel and other global players has boiled over. Ben Wolfgang reports the anger has grown as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed that his country would surge forward with a ground assault on the Hamas-controlled Gaza Strip, despite mounting international opposition and calls for a humanitarian pause. Netanyahu said in a national address that his Unity War Cabinet is working around the clock to prepare for the military invasion, and that Israel and no one else will determine the timing. Militants from Hamas launched an attack on October 7th that killed more than 1,400 Israelis and foreign nationals. Hamas also took more than 200 people hostage. Only 4 of them have been released despite a multinational behind-the-scenes effort to secure their freedom. Countries asking for America's help are questioning the Pentagon's ability to meet their needs. Mike Glenn reports conflicts in Ukraine and Israel have required some logistical backing as both have uncertain end dates. In January, the Pentagon dipped into a little-known stockpile earmarked for Israel to help Ukraine meet its urgent need for artillery ammunition to continue its fight against Russia. Defense Department officials said this week that increasing munitions for Israel would not compromise U.S. support for Ukraine or other potential global flashpoints. And finally, a Republican senator is calling for the government to vacate a federal building in San Francisco after its public spaces have become so unsafe that government employees were ordered to work from home. Stephen Dinan reports the Nancy Pelosi federal building is home to 6 different agencies, including the Department of Health and Human Services, which ordered employees this summer to work from home rather than risk going to the building. Iowa Senator Joni Ernst wants the remaining federal workers in the building to leave due to rampant crime and drug usage at its doorstep. A spokesperson said Pelosi voiced concerns about safety around the building in a meeting with the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of California. The 18-story building opened in 2007 with a focus on letting the public have access via a large plaza. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Washington Times in any major podcast app. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. The Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.